So the New Orleans Pelicans might be one of the worst basketball teams in the history of the NBA. And if you're wondering why I'm saying that, like there are a lot of teams that are maybe are going to have a worse record than New Orleans. Yet not many of them were in win now mode. Like they are in win now mode. If they're not in win now mode, why the fuck did they trade their pick? They traded their first round pick. They are in win now mode. And you're looking at a team right now who on the year has a .125. They've won one of every 8 games. They have won one of every 8 games. So, like, their expected wins for the year is 10. 10 wins. They're expected to go 10-72 on the year. That is, am I right in saying, what's the worst NBA season of all time? I know in terms of win percentage, I think there was like a Sixers team that was really bad. The Bobcats, in a not an expansion year, in a lockout year, had a worse win percentage. But like the New Orleans Pelicans right now are on a 6-game losing streak. Zion Williamson's injured. They don't have their own pick. And the crazy thing is like the Pelicans and the Clippers are the 2 worst teams in the Western Conference. And yet neither of them have their pick. And the Clippers' future is garbage. Absolutely garbage. But the Pelicans have maybe a slightly brighter future, but they're both completely incompetently ran. Like they're incompetently ran. But like it's just awful. It's genuinely awful. Like I feel bad for Pelicans fans. There's nothing. There is absolutely nothing that you can get out of the Pelicans of note unless they trade Derek Queen or trade Jeremiah Fears, who've been their 2 really good rookies. Like, apparently, I've heard they've put, like, superstar trade value on Trey Murphy. Like, Trey Murphy is a 20-point-per-game scorer on a terrible team. Like, what? Is he Aaron Gordon? Like, Aaron Gordon, if I'm not mistaken, was traded for like a pick. I think he was traded for like a pick. Aaron Gordon was traded for. They traded Aaron Gordon to Denver. In exchange, they got Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and a protected first-round pick. And that's basically what they've now put superstar trade value on Trey Murphy for. For, if I'm not mistaken, again, very, very similar situations where like Aaron Gordon was a player that a lot of people thought could have been really good for a good team, was putting up good stats in a bad team people didn't really know. Like, up to that point, Aaron Gordon, actually no, he was only averaging about 15 points per game for Orlando, but did have a 17 point per game season for them. But still, like, they're probably going to wait to cash in on Trey Murphy. And by waiting to cash in on Trey Murphy, they're kind of screwing themselves. They are kind of screwing themselves by waiting to cash in on Trey. Like, I don't know what they're supposed to be doing. I don't know if this team's meant to be good, if this team's meant to be bad, because they can't be tanking. Well, they obviously shouldn't be tanking, because at the end of the day, it's impossible. It's like if you're going and tanking when you have a Zion Williamson just sitting there, you're expecting to win. And you don't have a pick. Like they banked on Zion Williamson being Zion Williamson. And I don't think that's ever going to happen again. I don't think it is. I think Zion as a player, as an idea, I think all of this is just, it's over. I think the hope that Zion Williamson was ever going to be this franchise-altering player is done. Like, and I think we can, I think we should just admit that. And not only that, the Pelicans should have admitted it 6 months ago. If the Pelicans 6 months ago realized this, they wouldn't have made that trade for, they wouldn't have made the trade to get into the late second round. And that was the weirdest thing as well with the Pelicans draft. Like, or not the Pelicans, the Pacers pick. People are like, oh, but like they thought the Pacers pick was going to be a late pick next year. And it's like, okay, so we're going to trade the 23rd pick this year for what we think is going to be a late pick next year. But so many of these picks is like the New York Knicks pick. Like a lot of people are like in the Mikal Bridges trade, but like, oh, the New York Knicks picks, they're never gonna be anything good. I'm like, what if they are? What if they are? That was literally the logic that the Brooklyn Nets used. Oh, we don't mind, these future picks don't really matter because this team's always going to be good. That's literally the logic that the Brooklyn Nets used to make the Paul Pierce trade. That, oh, we can give up our picks because, giving up late first round picks doesn't matter. They gave up an 8th pick. They gave up the 8th pick and 2 number 3 overall picks. And yeah, it was just a real bad trade all around. And even the time the Pelicans trade seemed bad. And by the way, like, I like Derek Queen. I don't think Derek Queen is as good as people think because he plays absolutely zilch defense. And I don't know. He is an old school player. He is a super duper old school player. And he's somebody that's going to put up a lot of buckets. Can be a really, really good player in the NBA. Maybe an all-star, but like, to give up a potential at a Darren Peterson, at a AJ Dybantz, at a Cam Boozer, like, you're in a really tough spot. You're in a really, really tough spot if that's the decision, if that's what you've done. And the Pelicans could have had 2 top 5 picks. And the fact is, had the Pelicans been smart about it last year, they could have found a way of trading Zion to get, like, obviously they traded all those picks to move up to 13 in the draft for their obsession with Derek Queen. There was a way of getting a Zion trade around the draft that could have landed you that pick that became Derek Queen without giving up either of the picks. If you just had hindsight, without giving up either the Pacers pick or your own pick in this year's draft. And yes, I think the Pacers would be better if they had their own pick. I absolutely think that. If they didn't have their own pick, I absolutely think that. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be getting picks 12 and then tanking for pick 2 or 3, and you're coming into next year and you still have Derek Queen, you still have your pick that became Jeremiah Fears, you potentially are getting AJ Dybantz, to Cam Boozer, Caleb Wilson, or Darren Peterson. You're in a really, really good spot. You don't have that Zion Williamson contract weighing you down, but like, they made a bunch of win now moves. They traded. They made the weirdest win now move I've ever seen in trading CJ McCollum, who's better than Jordan Poole, for Jordan Poole. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's a win now move. Poole's better than McCollum. And I'm like, what are people talking about? There has never been a moment where Jordan Poole was better than CJ McCollum. And it's not like this is a move for the future either. Jordan Poole's not exceptionally young anymore. I don't even know what the Pelicans are doing, genuinely. It's just complete incompetence. That's the only way I can describe it. It is complete and utter incompetence from an organization that is known as being a bad organization, and they might be even worse than people are accusing them of. They are somehow, like, they are genuinely somehow an organization that makes the Brooklyn Nets look competent. Because at least the Brooklyn Nets sold super duper high on Mikal Bridges. At least they sold high on Kevin Durant, or at least what they could get, as high as they could get from Kevin Durant at that time. Whereas you've now got Zion Williamson, who is slowly becoming a negative trade asset. And that's the thing with these teams and the Clippers. The Clippers had so many opportunities to figure it out, make it work, but they've now got Kawhi, who's a negative trade asset, nothing else, and they're relying on a James Harden who's like 37. But yeah, that's pretty much it, lads. This is one of the worst organizations in basketball, and yeah, it's not going to get any better. And they might give the Atlanta Hawks a top pick. And I'm just hoping that they keep losing games so the Clippers don't give the Thunder the first pick.